Now will you fucking stop?
First of all, don't tell me what to do. Japanese.
سبحان فالق الإصباح.
Yes, YOLO infidels, that's right, rise and praise, because we're back on top of the monetized mountain here at YouTube, Bin Hameen, twitch.tv/Hameen Media, and channelattitude.com for those who can crack the code. It's the Monday Locker Room with the veteran Cypher Master himself. He's a Rick Rogers guy, and so am I, here on the Monday Locker Room. YOLO! Oh, fire it up this morning, you guys. Glad to be back in the studio with my man, the Vizat, ready to break it down and kick off your week with all the wrestling bullshit that you can handle, man. But good to be with you. Attack of the Bald Heads this morning. You're looking good, brother.
That's right. It's coming in a little bit on top. I can never take it fully down to the skull. I can't do it, but
Me neither.
I do have to accept fate and reality. So this is my compromise. But
you wear well. We both got round domes, so we're not cone heads or nothing like that. It looks good on us.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't go Bickett all the way to. I'd take them down to number one, but it seems like weird. It's growing. It seems like it's growing back in quicker than or so. Maybe maybe my hair's growing back, but I don't know. It still feels pretty, pretty nothing right here.
Or maybe Horseshoe Genetics is onto something else. What do you think? We got some extra formulas in there for you. Bonus,
dude. To be honest with you, if you could do it, maybe I would do a chia head of weed seeds, walk around with a giant weed fro. You think I'd look good with that?
Just break people off on the street. Yeah, sure.
yeah. Oh man, but it was a good weekend, man. I mean, a lot of cannabis. I'm always like moving in silence seems to be the way a lot of CEOs go. However, I'd like to be doing shows on the process, but I feel, we're all weird fucking performers. I feel like that might jinx it for me, or like things like that, where I'd be more emotionally invested because of the show, and that's the worst thing you can do in business. Is have those type of reactions. So but hopefully we just revise the lease, and maybe as soon as this week. So keep a fucking hope out there for HMG to get the cannabis moving to the next phase, and then it just seems like dominoes are going to fall and things are going to move even faster. So that was cool. And I actually got invited to an awesome country club. Might have been Mar-a-Lago, might not have been. Me and Triple D, Dippin' Donuts. I followed him there actually. And we played in the member guest tournament, and it was a good time. Got smoked by every team. I just couldn't put my game together, but we had a great time, man. And more, I've never played 45 holes in 24 hours. That's a lot, man. For me, even 18 is a lot. So, but it was an awesome time, and I almost, I won closest to the pin. I was 7 feet away. I was probably about on a 240 yards. I was about 4 inches away from a hole in one where I would have won a free truck.
Oh, man.
But the only saving grace of that is the two teams that were in the lead that absolutely smoked us, that were wicked good. They were right ahead of us, and they were just got off that hole, and they watched it come in, and they were all like at the edge of their seat, like, oh, I couldn't see it, but they were like, it fucking missed by that much, and it was rolling perfectly, dude. So at least some redemption in front of the boys in the locker room, I guess, is what it came down to, man. But I'd have a highlight reel for ESPN, and then I'd drive it, get on the green, or I was 7 feet away from the hole. 3 putts to get it in there. I can drive it 240 yards, almost put it in. 3 putts at 7 feet. That's the most torturous game there is on the fucking planet, man, because there's nobody to blame but yourself. So it was a good time with fun in the sun, and I don't usually get to do that kind of stuff because we're on the road a lot of the time, so I miss out on concerts or graduation parties and shit like that with friends and family. And but that was a real cool experience. A+. I mean, food, drinks, everybody was just super cool, and it was a great time. Something I remember from this summer for sure, forever.
Well, it sounds like you had a very fun and productive weekend.
Yeah, man. How about you? Did you do anything cool?
Oh no, goodness gracious, no. It's just holding things down at the installation, the West Coast installation, trying to survive this. So you know how the Cobra had the weather dominator.
Oh yeah.
So I'm trying to look at a more focused tech, like heat suppressor or something like that.
Okay.
Maybe that Mr. Burns block out the sun tech, like
right.
Something on that. So we're looking into a few things
what's
here.
going on right now, right? That is a plan that's on the table, and it's not like the Simpsons didn't predict everything 1,000 times in the future because they have some see into the
predicted
future.
Or inspired.
Yeah. No, I really believe that there's so many things that are on the nose that there is some, hey, Matt Groening, you're on the inside of Hollywood with this show, and you get to look into the magic mirror on the wall and see these things, and then predictively program them, put them into your show because they're just too goddamn on the nose. I mean, comedians, obviously, I think are one of the highest form of intelligence at that level when you've got improvisers writing your show. But that shit's just too on the goddamn nose too many times. One thing that was sad but good too, I did so that yesterday was just, or Saturday was just crazy because I got out of that finals of that tournament. I had to go back for the awards that night and dinner. And but as soon as I got home, checked the perimeter with the dogs of war, make sure everything was good there. And as soon as I sit down, I get messages from the Empress, the Queen, to be like, "Where are you? All your friends are here. It's the memorial. One of my good buddies' father, passed away, and it's just how we are. It's a generation, 70s and whatnot. It's going to happen more and more." But I actually got to see guys that were my best friends from like third grade all the way up through, you know what I mean? That came from all over the place. So even in though tragic, not tragic, he had a great life. Kind of a hometown hero guy, baseball coach, all that kind of stuff to all of us, So to walk into the bar, and even though I only had an hour, to like, dudes I only get to see, be like going in an OVW reunion for us, you know what I mean, with the boys there, and we wouldn't miss a step. It'd be the same thing with you and Debo and all that, and we'd be telling stories about BKNY and all that shit, you know what I mean, and so it was a very moment in the moment, memory based, a lot of emotion, and able to let my hair down for a weekend after conspirers taking my belts, that had me stressed out, and them hit me in the face with cakes and whatnot. So I just like to not to be like, oh, my weekend was the shit, and share some personal stuff, but those moments are very important to me because a lot of times for years, our sacrifice, we miss out on things like that. You know what I mean? So when I get to have them happen right now, they almost are like what stick out more in my mind than anything. So,
well, I really enjoy the fact that, Hami Media Group is a chance for me to bring the OVW reunion here.
Absolutely.
Because we can't have one, or if it's just not, it's way too much to ask of people to get together. And I don't even really want to do that, but to be able to get people that I haven't talked to in so long and bring them on and catch up with them, and just, whether we chat about phony wrestling or whether we just chat about whatever, but to, just to get those people back there and let them know, letting guys like Timmy Baltimore know that I didn't get to talk to as much as I wanted to.
Yep.
Silvio, like you mentioned, having Victor come on, all these guys, just, and a bunch of people I'm forgetting, and people I'm still working on trying to get, hey, pop in, when you get a chance. I'm going to do something with, Man Beast again here soon, hopefully. So, the stuff like that, like you want to not only
here's
do that.
Sorry to interrupt. Here's another OVW brother.
Working on the hammer, also working on the hammer.
Yep.
It's just I put that on Big Ray. This is Big Ray's fault that the hammer's not able to. But yeah, that's another one. Just like that's the best part about all this. Even you and I, Ben, like we never really talked that much before. We've already talked hundreds of times more than we ever did back in OVW, just doing the last couple weeks of Monday Locker Rooms. But that's just, that stuff is much more important as you get older. You start to realize if not only the time you missed when you thought you had forever, but like it feels as though time is slipping faster. Like it actually moves faster, like when you were a kid, the elementary school clock, it seemed like it went 2 minutes back before it went one forward. And now it's, and Christmas took all day for you to get to open your presents or whatever. But now it's just like, it's summer's already halfway over. I thought we just got out of, we just started spring.
Yeah, and just that time keeps on slipping, right? And that's a great point, man. When you're little, it just seems forever. When you said that clock, it just went on that.
Why was that built into every elementary school clock, dude?
Just as a fucking awesome rib. That's an awesome rib. That's why. And now, man, it's just gone. The days rips by, absolutely. The months rip by. So you really gotta, that was my point, and you summed it up perfectly. Acknowledge that moment and appreciate the people around you, and I hope you guys are too, because even if you do live hopefully a long and full life, you're gonna have people who have it taken from them at a very young age as well, and that is a hard lesson to go through to be able to appreciate how fragile it is, and Floyd passing away, the guy I loved being at the end of the bar, having a beer and being a local guy, and he brought the boys together. So what more can you ask for? You know what I mean? Even in your death, you bring the boys together. That's if the spirit's around us or whatever you believe in, the energy or what have you, like that's what they would have wanted. So I feel like everybody played their part. You know what I mean? In the big send-off, but we got plenty of wrestling ahead, you guys. So Raw last week, they actually did decent work, which makes me believe that there wasn't a lot of last minute changes, because what they set up in the beginning tied in the end with run-ins and business to get over. And then SmackDown and didn't have much continuity. It was a strange show this week, and I'll break that down with Stevie. AEW with a 20-minute FTW opener. I mean, Taz, I think, is pretty much booking and writing that stuff, but the FTW belts and ECW hold over to just try and get those kids over. And then we have a 55-minute glass, get your shit in on bed of nails, and you're in the Blackpool Combat Club as an honor to the guy who left you holding the bag and went back to NXT and WWE. It's just like, what are we doing, man? It was a strange week of wrestling last week. People asked me about Collision. I have, to be honest with you, I haven't watched one episode, because we've got Chris Ames, DJ Mass Effects, The Vet, and then plenty other HMG staff, thankfully, on our new HMG Wreckage show, which I got to upload this afternoon. They just sent me yesterday. So you can get the Collision review there, but I don't know. We'll see what happens tonight, because usually when Raw has one decent show, then you're in line for 6 weeks of what the fuck is this,
Yeah, there's a little something for everyone out there, I guess. The funny thing about, we talk about Vince a lot and his interference with these shows, and what we get pieced out to us by different sources about, oh, this is going on backstage, and this is how people feel, and this is the mood, this is the vibe that we have backstage, and all these things. And it always makes me wonder. I'm just thinking out loud, but like, when you think about Vince and the way he sold, I mean, it's not finalized still to my knowledge, but it's the deal is basically in place and it's going to be done, and the WWE sold. Like, if you're willing to part with your baby like that, like, why do you care about Raw? You know, like if you could
Yeah.
give up your entire life's work and just say, here you go, Endeavor, 9.3 billion, please. Like if you're fine with that, why can't you just let the shitty TV show go? Why do you have to have your hands in the pie? Just let it go, or don't sell it, keep it, continue to monopolize it and lord over it and do all the micromanaging you want. I can't reconcile the two things. They don't make sense to me.
Because Big Ray posted, master of the meme, Big Ray Hernandez coming soon to the Pierce Austin network.
The never forget.
Never forget. The never forget. Hashtag never forget. And it's Vince's tweet, 77 years old, time to retire. It's been a great run. Then, now, forever together. And here we are pushing 70. Dude, he's going to be, was that last year's tweet or 2 years ago? So he's 77.
His birthday's last year.
Yeah, it's like, so his birthday's the day after mine. So August, I'm 23rd, he's 24th of August. And so 78 years old, still with his finger on the fucking nuclear button at all times, playing the same politics. It's a very I mean, you're at the root level, you're talking about massive narcissism and power addiction and also defining yourself through your art and your product. But
but you gave it up. That's the thing. Like that's the incongruous part of the equation.
But did you really? You just sold out, but you still have power and control because they don't want to deal with the bullshit, so they keep you there because there is value. And they had that conversation. Is there more value in us starting fresh or keeping it because Vince McMahon is gonna die someday? His mother lived to 100, so we might have a fucking 22 more years. So that's one way to look at it. They looked at it as like, as long as he's not foaming at the mouth, shitting his pants on TV, which wait till tonight could happen, that there's value in him, more value in him being alive. We'll give him the money, but let him run that until we have to have a vote of no confidence someday, or no continence.
I get it. I get their end of it, but again, I just have to keep going back to, like, he had the company, he had all the power, and regardless of whatever he set up for himself, whatever backdoor deals that he made or undisclosed things or all that stuff, you still relinquished a portion of the power that's way bigger and way more significant than who's writing Monday Night Raw.
Right.
Like, that's the part that's why would you give it? You had it all. Why would you even on a surface level? Why would you want, even if you're the shadow, boss? Why would you still want people not to perceive you? If it's the ego, why don't you want people to perceive you as the one that's got the world in his hand? Why do you want people to perceive you as just another guy? Because that feeds into what you're saying about, is this guy basically on borderline of being senile? So we have to get him out of the public eye. It's not about that. It's about he's admitting that that's the case, or he's going along with it, just like he was going along with whoever told him time to retire, which he should have said, fuck off, I'm not retiring, shit, I don't care how many allegations there are. These are all, none of the stuff really adds up, like when you look at the individual pieces.
Here's one piece that's kind of the silent and unsung one, even though, well, maybe they won't. Maybe, I'm sure they will, but maybe they won't. Fuck them when it comes to Stephanie and Shane being given the fucking crown and scepter, right? They don't have that anymore. And it goes back to the Pat McAfee show where he asked about the kids, and Vince is like, oh, fuck those fucking kids. Pretty much. But will they inherit 9.3 billion? Or will he leave it to fucking the Martin Luther King College Fund? You know what I mean? Like, what if he even fucks them out of the $1 billion? Not that they're not multimillionaires already themselves, right? But, are you going to leave them the empire of money? And that's the possibility, so they can go on and you have generation, McMahon, 40 years from now, whatever Declan's kid is going to be as president. You know what I mean? You can fund that, build out that way. Maybe that's what they're looking to do. Like, all right, we came from the trailer park. We became emperors of the world. We rubbed shoulders with the top fucking people on every continent, and everybody knows our brand. But we're still never going to be given the reins because it's Carney. But $9 billion maturing over 40 years with 2 generations in between and a legacy. very much like we're seeing with JFK or RFK right now, right? Like, you know, a lot of heat from their family came from Irish mob bootleggers to get into the fucking presidency to the point of shaking shit up that they fucking smoked them. And then and even the grandson, plane crash wise. And now here we are with like a reboot generation version 3. So it's interesting.
All that being said, now imagine all that stuff Ben just said, and then imagine him being like, well, goddamn, I got to write Shayna Baszler's promo.
Points.
I don't trust anyone else to do that.
No, well,
Only I can
well, yeah, he doesn't have to worry about the presidency down the road. He's just got to make sure that nobody gets over now. So until AI takes over and writes the entire show in probably 30 seconds, and he's like, not bad. Let's run with it.
I think they've already experimented with it on NXT. Oh, yeah. But if you want to hear more about that, then check out the Next Level Wrestling review with myself and Big Ray Hernandez every Wednesday, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern live. Yeah,
definitely look forward to hear all your guys' take. I think you probably already did it for this week on Dominic going back down to NXT and really popping a big rating. I think they did like 726 with like 200,000 over, 150,000 over what they usually do. And more ring time for him and flexing on those guys isn't a bad thing by any means, but that was the big NXT shot of the week this week that they were talking about. So I don't want to stooge it off there. You guys tune in the Next Level review. It's up now on channelattitude.com. Yeah.
Oh yes.
But yeah, man, weird. I was on Twitter, as I will be some days, and Luke Radowski of wearechange.org actually got a hold of Team YouTube, and had something reversed and remonetized, and the person in public was very more human. Maybe it's AI, more human than the lefty judges they all hired, right? And I was like, wow, if Luke's getting shit fucking reversed, because he's way more hot button than the Horsemen were, you know what I mean? Maybe not, maybe more well known when We Are Change. And I was like, hey, I've been trying to get remonetized. My channel got demonetized 2 years ago. I didn't go into the fucking adpocalypse and all that shit. Really, 4 years ago, it got demonetized. And they're like, well, go into this and reapply it. And within, it says it takes a month usually. Within 3 days, my channel was remonetized. So I don't know what's going on with, maybe it's the Bud Light culture and all that kind of shit of they saw $30 billion drop offs and Target and all that shit, right? Maybe YouTube with the woke, now everyone's going to go anti-woke and they're letting people be remonetized because they know that's the way society's shifting, or the way they want it to shift, the way they want the salmon to swim upstream. So it is. So if you're watching us here on YouTube this morning, you can super chat or bit me chat super bites.
Yeah, something.
And I know
super chats for YouTube, bits for Twitch.
Yeah. So I just wanted to put that out there. I saw a lot of people were donating last night to Russo when he was live. So not trying to shake your pockets, just for HMG, because a lot of that money goes right back into channelattitude.com to pay the bills, man, which just had to do with Podbean. But I was shocked that YouTube remonetized me, A, that fast, and B, that on Twitter, it actually felt like I was talking to somebody who gave a fuck and looked at it. So, because they had me send them my URL, so I figured maybe they just went in and were like, remonetize this fucking guy when he gets back on.
Well, you say Twitter, but do you really mean X?
X, yeah, X gonna give it to
you. What about that?
Right? Yeah,
what about that? I wish it was something to do with that, but it doesn't look like it. It looks like it's just more generic. But
right. Well, he likes SpaceX, and I'll put this beef out there too. And it's the bank is the one that really have come through. I haven't seen the money gone from there, but I'll have to double check. When they were doing sell blue check marks for $8, right? I sign up for two of them, one for HMG and one for another client that I have, and Horseshoe Gen X, so 3 actually. And because that drives you to the top of the algorithm, and those are more commercial accounts that I need to have up there. And my personal one I don't, because then you're just kind of a fucking mark trying to buy celebrity. If it's got fucking value for the brands, I definitely don't mind spending that money. but they redid their back and they redid their back end. I redid it. And I was trying to re-sign and update the card, and it charged me $1,000 because it put on there automatically the one for media company. And I was like, I just didn't see it. Hit fucking okay. Instantly took the G out of the fucking account. I was like, what the fuck? Flipping out, go to the bank. The bank fucking puts the cash back in there, but it was charged by X Corp. Like, it couldn't have been any more evil and innocuous. And then they go to fucking battle for it or what have you. But that was like a 6 a.m. Oh, I gotta fucking get this before it, and
great way to wake up.
$1,000, but dude, that fucking was a straight heat on the nuts right there. There's no doubt about that. But he's obsessed with the X stuff. I'm sure there'll be plenty of conspiracy stuff going forward that way.
Yeah. Oh, we'll see what happens, but it's going to be a serious issue to take such a known brand and just be like, nah, none of that anymore. It's this thing now. And I think a lot of people are there may be an exodus.
Yeah, points. They keep trying to say Meta's gonna be the fucking thing, right? Like that was last week's hype, and everybody signed up, or people did sign up just to lock their property down, and it hasn't done shit yet. Nobody's over there on that fucking app talking. But we're talking here in the YouTube chat room this morning. Good morning to 25 waking up with us. Appreciate you guys. So. But y'all, let's get to some headlines, man. Unless there's anything else you want to cover in your life or the world or anything. News, rumors you got to spread. We can start some rumors about people.
Let's start a rumor. If I think of a good one, I'll throw it out there. But
I'll start a rumor. Fucking Stevie Richards' channel needs to get monetized on YouTube, bringing his new wrestling analysis channel. Make sure you're subscribing. I'm watching videos. He's dropped 22,000 views already and climbing thousands every day.
Yep.
And the WWE stars he's talking about are reaching out to say thank you behind the scenes and asking his opinion. This is, and I should take this note for myself of how to be constructive and positive, but I would say I'm an East Coast loudmouth New York asshole, but he's a Philly guy, so I can't use that excuse, right? But he's beloved by everyone, and it really feels like a master class in wrestling with brevity and all that mixed in. I really think he should be doing these breakdowns behind the scenes for NXT, like tape review, where he watches it and goes through this, that, and the other. And guys are interested in what he has to say, real workers, because they respect him for having a fucking 30-year career. And how he delivers it is very palatable, not insulting, with good constructive criticism and entertaining at the same time. And they're probably pumped that somebody's taking the time to fucking a veteran to look at their stuff and say, I like it because of this, or maybe we need to pay a little attention. We can be safer on that. So make sure you're subscribing, and I hope that channel gets demonetized, because he was like, should I do this for a while? And it took some time to get the production, because he put so much effort into his production laid out. But you can subscribe to it on patreon.com / Stevie Richards, probably. I don't think it's Stevie Richards Wrestling Analysis.
It's just for Patreon. It's just Stevie Richards. And but the thing about it is, it'll probably be monetized by the time you hit end broadcast today. We'll probably already be there. So it's well on its way. He's got original content for YouTube that's separate from the Patreon. So if you just want to get the stuff for free and go to his channel, you can do that, and you can get extra, longer, more in-depth stuff on the Patreon, which is well worth it. Especially any aspiring wrestler should just be signing up for it, assuming that you can afford the tiers, which are very reasonably priced, $3, $5, whatever it is. And, the best thing for me personally is I like seeing Stevie talk about wrestling and enjoy it for a change. Because I've been listening to you guys for years talk about wrestling, and he really doesn't and neither one of you, I mean, or Russo, or how could anybody be enjoying or entertaining this stuff? It's mostly just getting your intelligence insulted for between 2 and 5 hours a week. So it's good to see him doing something that he should be doing, that can help a lot of people, but he's also enjoying it. And even putting that effort into the production is something that I think he enjoys also. He enjoys the challenges and learning and all those things. So it's great to see anybody do something that's not only constructive, but it's fun for them to be constructive and useful and all that stuff. So I can't recommend it enough. And everybody should at least check it out.
I'm going to tell him this. He should have a $5,000 tier on Patreon and just send the links to HBK game or whatever it is and say, I'll do NXT every month. Then you're only paying him $12.50 a month, right? And that's more than you got $9.3 billion. You can fucking cough up an extra $1,300 a week and let him he doesn't have to go down there. He just does his shit. And then that's well worth it. 4 episodes for $5,000 to fucking for them to all sit there on tape review on Thursday afterwards and be like, here's what Stevie or whatever they're gonna do it Monday if you give them time to review it all. And everybody comes in and does that. That's a masterclass education, bro. And I'm just like you said, he's a tech addict. We know he's got a big microphone addiction. He can't get enough microphones. So and he's a self-taught producer with alternative softwares like DaVinci Pro and Resolve and all that kind of shit, man. So to watch him put the Blue World Order studio together and then produce that kind of content as well as every other thing that's his passion, you're living the life of a true artist at that point, as far as I'm concerned. In 2023, there's no better definition of being a digital artist. And you're not trying to be an influencer. You're just fucking showcasing your knowledge and passion. And that's what he's doing on all his channels. So, Stevie, and some people say
his name is Stevie Richards. And he has a conditioning and training program.
Oh, yeah, there's that too.
Phenomenal.
So that's the guy, man. That's the fucking guy. Big Brother Stevie. Dr. Stevie, whatever you want to call him. LA Knight, let's talk about him. He reportedly has management support, but backstage approach is a concern. As LA Knight's popularity continues to rise, there's belief among fans in being next in line for the Austin Theory U.S. Championship. That ended up not being the case on the episode of SmackDown this week when Rey Mysterio won the Invitational 4-Way that also involved Knight, Sheamus, and Cameron Grimes. Despite that, it said that he was looking for a push late summer into fall. There's sources that say McMahon, has become
time release push. We marked it down our calendar when we're going to start caring.
Now we'll give a fuck about him August 28th. Has become a fan of Knight, while Triple H has already been considering his usage on NXT in 2021. Being brought back to the company. However, the report does state that Knight has a history of rubbing people the wrong way behind the scenes, as well as being, quote, bad at backstage politics. Even though he may not give off the great first impression to everyone he meets, his crowd reactions and social media popularity have reportedly put him on management's radar for potential push after SummerSlam on August 5th. Obviously they're going to push him, and this was one of the choices where it's like, let's test them. Now, there's a couple things here that you can look at it objectively without being like, see, they're fucking with them, which Marks will, and they may be. But Austin Theory is doing pretty well right now on the mic. I think he's had good matches. I like him at the booth. And if you want to get him to the next level, Rey Mysterio is a big rub. If you had him go under to LA Knight, a heel can take a loss and fucking use that going forward. But maybe they're looking at bringing both of these guys up at the same time, and it's not a fuck him, let's play politics and see how he deals with it, because that could be it, but it might not be. Let's get them both over. Theory goes with Ray and goes over in a heel way. And then, or it's actually going to probably come down to Santos Escobar and not Ray, to be honest with you, but that's on the table too. And the more that LA Knight doesn't get put over by the office or isn't like the obvious winner, the more people are going to want him to win the big one. And this ain't the big one right here, this fatal 4-way to get to the U.S. title. So he's not really hurt with the loss. It is head scratching because they're making him the focal point, and you wouldn't have handed The Rock or Austin a loss out of nowhere in a fatal 4-way when they were getting hot like this. So they're kind of breaking their own model that way. There's a lot of if, ands, what's, nuts, and buts in this one. You know what I mean?
They don't like him, Ben. I know we're talking about that management that's got a calendar that they've marked his push on. They don't fucking like the guy.
This. He doesn't. He's bad at backstage politics. We'd push him, but he doesn't know how to play the game the way we want to play it. So fuck him. Like, that's such a weird caveat of like.
Well, they know that they just, there is no game to play. They just change the rules so that they can always be right. If some guy gets over doing something, like the first time anybody ever saw Eli Drake is an awkward douchebag, says John Hartnett. I get that. I get that people feel that way, right? Like, I understand exactly what John is saying here, even without having known that he was going to say it. And I've never met him, and he can, in interviews and things like that, that's how he comes across at times. But regardless, you hired him. You hired him. You're paying him. You could just flush your money down the toilet and not have him on TV at all if that's what you want to do. So since he's there, why don't you just get the most that you can out of him while you can? Just, squeeze him dry for everything that you can get. But they're not even doing that just because they don't like him, because he's an awkward douchebag or whatever. But it doesn't matter if you're an awkward douchebag or one of the nicest people in the world like Stevie Richards or whatever it is. They don't like you. They're not going to do anything with you, and that's just a fact. And the first person that ever saw him acting like The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin and a little bit of Ric Flair and everybody else that he's influenced by, not that there's anything wrong with it, but the first person that saw that automatically had heat with him. He's like, who does he think he is? White Rock? And then, it's like Kevin Nash is only 6 years late to the party making his comments that blow up, everything on social media. So,
yeah, well, let's go back. You can go back to Eli. And I'm not trying to be like me. Well, but I am like me because I thought you were leading that, because that goes back to his debut on Impact Attack when Ray and I were hosting together. And we were watching it, and he took over the Ken Anderson spot, whatever happened there with Backstage Heat. And you saw it right there. Like, it was even more blatant there than it is now.
How do you not see it? So it's just everybody here is just now catching up.
You don't see it. You don't see it because it was on Impact, and not a lot of people were watching it.
Not a lot of people saw it, but anybody who saw it. And I guess that's the point, is like, that's why you come to Hami Media Group, because we've got it 5 years before anybody else. But so as Hans and Franz would say, hear us now and believe us later. But either way, you'll get there. So the point is, nobody there likes him, and they're just going to keep doing this. And they're wiping their feet on LA Knight. They're going to continue to do it. They think, oh, but look, we gave him a promo and he got a big reaction, so it doesn't matter if he loses the match, right? Well, it does kind of matter eventually. And they're wiping their feet on Rey Mysterio too. A win against Rey Mysterio, a program with Rey Mysterio, doesn't mean nearly as much as it would have, 3-4 years ago or whatever it would have been, because they know that they've got him over a barrel so that his son can have a job, and they're enjoying torturing this family by making them look as stupid as possible and getting the minimum value out of them on television. So as long as Dominic can still continue to do his false positive heat stuff on television, they can do whatever they want to his dad and beat him with anybody they want. The only person LA Knight even beats is Rey Mysterio. That's the only person he's ever beat on television, is the guy that they dislike and had a longer history of disliking more than LA Knight for being over. And they're mad at him for being over and being small. This is just how the WWE management works.
Awesome,
I'm sorry.
No, you're spot on, and it's crazy that the Stooge report includes he'd be over if he was better at backstage politics, but because he's not, that's why they're going to test him.
Telling on yourself.
Absolutely. And telling on my man Kevin Mara this morning says, hello and congratulations on being Remonetized, Ben and Vet. Our first super blaster?
Super chat.
Super chat. super sticker of the day. He says,
Super
hello to
sticker.
the whole HMG chat out there, you guys. I
That's
appreciate
right.
you, Kevin, for being such a
Love
great
Kevin.
supporter.
Good
homie.
old Kevin.
Yeah, man. You're definitely a huge channel attitude. Soldier in the trenches every day with us here, man. For
I
sure.
bet he would push LA Knight.
Yeah, somebody's got to. Let's
Oh,
see.
one other
Let's
thing
do
before
that.
we move
What?
on, Ben, more of a general thing.
Mhm.
You know, you being in entertainment and the various aspects that you've been in, theater, improv, wrestling, and all this other stuff, right? You are very familiar with the idea, the sort of the cliche concept that the people that are talented sometimes are the ones that ruffle a lot of feathers. Like there's almost like it's of course there's exceptions, of course there are, but you know, generally people think that on the sliding scale, like as the talent goes up, like the maintenance, maybe the maintenance goes up or the chill goes down or whatever it is, and you got guys like, we're talking about HBK and Triple H and these kind of guys that, they're a big sort of like, who the fuck is this asshole think he is type of contingent, so like that's a familiarity breeds contempt type of situation as well. Like they see a little bit of themselves in him and maybe they don't like that. And do you think that any of that plays into it? And how often have you found that to be true over the years in the entertainment that you've worked on, where it's like, man, this guy's so good, but God, he's a lot.
Yeah, there's always, and it's usually not the heels, it's the babies in wrestling.
In wrestling, yes, of course, yes.
But you can liken that to almost everybody in acting too. Improv was a strange animal because you have to work your ass off to get, just like OVW, we're all in the trenches learning together, and then you kind of graduate and shoulder up to the next level mid-card performers until you get to the real big dogs who are coming back and have HBO deals or they're on Mad TV and shit like that, or like I forget his name. He's got a thing on Netflix right now, but it's like a sketch comedy show and it's all very strange and funny. Tim Robinson,
I think you should leave.
So yeah, he's from Cook County Social Club, which is a team that was during my prime at IO. Like we would open for them or be on the same showcases. And then when I look at that shit, like sometimes I get the little diva in me gets triggered. Like fuck, I love my wrestling career. I'm not gonna say I don't. We're like, where would I be if I would have just stayed improv? Because I was at that level of getting the cattle call to go in front of Lorne Michaels or whatever the fuck. So I'm happy for all those guys. And, my buddy Nice Peter, Epic Rap Battles of History, they've made their own way, him and Epic Lloyd. But there's a lot of bullshit that goes along with it and a lot of leaving your friends kind of in the dust until you can come back around and be like, hey, good brother. I'll be like, yeah, put me in a rap. I know how to rap. So that can breed jealousy for those who get left behind. And those inside the bubble who run the power structure at the top of Improv Olympic and Second City are kind of the ones who get to grant the wishes, right? To put you in front of the people to go. Now there's guys like, let's say Tim Baltz, who's on the Righteous Gemstones. I don't know if you watch that or not, but he plays the husband, the kind of goofy husband of the daughter, like he's a effeminate type of character, but when it needs to be, he's the show stealer. Tim Baltz is one of the nicest guys I've ever met in any fucking, performance medium. And when guys like that succeed, anybody who's jealous or tries to tear him down, if I would hear that, I'd know the problem was with that person. Because if you know that guy, he's opposite of like scene stealing on purpose, opposite of politicking to get his own way, being in the Cobra Kai cool kids club in order to get over. So when dudes like that fucking hit it, we all feel like we all made it. When Serena gets signed or anything like that, we all felt like we all made her. Santino or somebody,
Yeah.
And those are people I'm always going to cheer for, but there's other people who keep getting the shot over and over and over again because it's somebody's buddy, because it's somebody's wife, because they were somebody's kid, and they never chopped wood, carry water to get to that point. They might have all the talent and they understand the craft, but they're missing the one piece, which is the drive that fucking, brought you to that dance. And you can't fault them if they were handed it to them through nepotism. You can't choose who the fuck your parents are. But some kids were prepared to be humble and accept it and work their asses off. Other ones just think it's owed to them. And when you feel that, you're like, oh, what the fuck, or people putting them over from having a great improv show. And they're like, I'm next to go to Saturday Night Live. And it usually never works out that way because people just are like, oh yeah, fuck me. Fuck you. And they're just waiting to say that, because there's only what in wrestling, I mean, with Khan's company, 200 spots, WWE 80 spots, Impact 40 spots, right? And so roughly you're looking at about 350 spots in wrestling, maybe NWA, but that's not paying the bills full time. So 350 spots, how many workers?
Well, the workers are the ones that have to prop up the stars that you're talking about, whether it's nepotism or whatever else, or just that the other kind of drive, which is that willingness to step on people to get what you want, that a lot of people just don't have the heart to do. So they accept those, they're happy and grateful to get those supporting roles on the Righteous Gemstones or whatever it is, even though they might deserve a lot more or could do a lot more. That's another piece of it too. So I guess I was just wondering, like, where does LA Knight fall into that sort of a scenario where he's at right now?
It's tough because he's taking a beating from the veterans, calling him out on being inspired by other acts that he's kind of hitting it too on the nose from. But he's on the climate change, and that's what Vince wants to see, and he goes out there and sticks the landing on his 22nd bing, bang, boom, and goes in and doesn't hurt anybody. You can't ask for much more than that. And if you lay down and take the finish with a smile, as opposed to being like, yeah, why am I losing right here, pal? I'm on a hot streak, and being a bitch about it. And that's the test. Everyone's always testing you. Everything is a test in wrestling. A hot topic this week. And, I've talked to the guy and had a good conversation with him, and I don't know him. I think I was on air maybe once with him. I'm not even sure, but the Larry Dallas controversy off of K100, then Disco's going to shit stir the same way Nash does. They all come from the same locker room, same era. And it's how are you going to sell or really no sell what it is. And CQA, a guy who had a couple day drinks and his words get away from him. I'm guilty of it too, running my fucking mouth and not shutting up sometimes. You know what I mean? But
we could do a whole separate show on the Larry Dallas thing.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to burn bridges there either. You guys can check it out on K100 and everybody's talking about it. And when you hear it, you're like, fuck, dude. When you hear somebody failing the test, it hurts, bro. You know what I mean? Especially as a worker, you're like, oh, stop, shut the fuck up. Oh. You just take another one. They just keep stabbing themselves. And what does Conan do and fucking Disco do? They either just poke him once to set him off, or they lay out and just let him go because they know they got him. And that's nothing to do with like, I'm going to get this guy. Fuck it. That's just wrestling 101 of like, let me hook one and fucking reel him in, because that's what those guys in, I would say, even pre-90s, probably 80s, 70s, this, who knows how long, this could go back to the 20s of circus times of how carnies worked, of testing somebody to fuck with them, to see if they're over, and then the wine tells the truth, right? Is that what they say? And that was a very tough clip to listen to if you're inside the
and business. It was a clip. The clip was like 15 minutes. Supposedly they said it was an hour. He did that for an hour. So if you're on the Patreon for K100 Patreon, go check out an hour of Larry Dallas saying interesting things. They're interesting because he does raise some interesting conversation topics too, like debate topics.
I don't know. When you're fucking, like I said, when someone's in a condition, it's tough to be like, oh, well, maybe they are telling the truth because their guard's down because of whatever they're imbibing in. But don't think anybody, even I know Larry's been in the ring and shit like that, so it's not like he's a dirt sheet writer who hasn't been there.
No. He's not on that. He's not like a. When we're talking about Larry Dallas, we're not talking about a fucking Nick Houseman or one of those type of guys.
No. So
not a Sean Ross Sapp who's been in the ring with Hollywood Denise Salcedo or whatever. Like,
never would you or I, just based on our etiquette and training, go to an Al Snow or a Russo and go, you don't fucking know shit. You're a charlatan. You're a fucking car salesman. What the fuck you? You don't know shit about Mexico or Japan. A grifter. You don't know shit about Mexico or Japan. I'd be like, yeah, because that's 5% of the market. Like if you're into that little niche, that's cool. But until anybody at the fucking bus stop can name the top 5 guys in New Japan, none of them mean a motherfucking thing, because all those same people would know Mankind, Triple H, Rock, Hogan, Austin, Yeah,
but those guys are from damn near 30 years ago now. So this is what I'm talking about. When you bring up interesting points, this is where the conversation.
Name Japanese guys from 30 years ago.
Well, I can do that, but what's the difference if you don't know? But the point is, here's the thing. You say 5%. 5% to who? America? America's not the industry. So in Japan, those guys are very important. In Mexico, those guys are very important. And the American guys, not as important, although still imperative.
That's like being important in Rhode Island to me. That's like going, Rhode Island fucking is the point of the world that fucking everybody should be watching.
You're not going to watch their town hall meetings or whatever, but if you live in Rhode Island, that shit's important. But that's the thing.
We don't live in Rhode Island. And that's to like judge that. Like, you don't know what the fuck the school board in Baltimore is talking about? You're a fucking idiot. Like, oh, okay. Like that's the level of that conversation.
No, the conversation is if you don't care or know what's going on in Baltimore school system, why are you commenting on it? Is the point. It has nothing to do with whether it's important or not. If it's not important enough to you, then don't talk about it. But obviously it's important to somebody if people are bringing it up. So it's not the same thing. It's not a one-to-one comparison. The other stuff does matter.
Comes down to this.
Well, sure.
That's what it comes down to when you're talking to it's not nothing to do with analogies of school boards or Baltimore or what's over in Japan or Mexico. When you're talking to a fucking made legend who's been in this business 20 plus, 30 plus, 40 plus years, who's been on the pay-per-views, who's been on TV every week, you don't fucking go talk out of the side of your mouth and go, you don't know shit about this business, because they are setting you up. And if you don't know that you're in the middle of a test right now and you're failing it, you shouldn't be in the locker room, really, to be honest with you, because it's a fucking problem, because you're going to have a cringe existence kind of going forward. Unless you're just trying to get over with Meltzer and them and get a job with AEW, then it was the perfect thing to fucking do. But when it comes to talking to anybody, dude, that it's a high school baseball player going to a major leaguer going, you don't know what the fuck you're doing up there at the plate, you fucking idiot. Look how you hold your bat.
So what should we do? So let's just close up the locker room then. Since we're not on these people's level, let's just not talk about them then. What kind of a thought process is that? Like, people can say what they want to say. That's kind of what we do here. And just because
but you're not doing it directly. I'm not bringing on somebody. If I've got fucking shit for Vince McMahon, I'm not going to go, he's fucking a megalomaniac and like, cue Vince, bring him on. Like, I'm going to tell you something, motherfucker. Like, you can have your commentary, but this is direct at someone who's built the business that you eat off of, and to show that very little amount of respect. And it's the same reason why I probably shouldn't have gauged with fucking Lost Sheep to Lost Shepherd and Body, because I know they won't step up to pay it off, but they want to talk that shit like they're the fucking, like they know what's going on. I'm lowering myself, but to even acknowledge what the fuck they're doing. But after they disrespect Russo and other legends like that, I got nothing to lose 3 of them, so I'll draw a line in the sand. But even when that happens, you can see vets like, what? Why is Hameen selling for these fucking goofs? Because I want to smack them around and fucking make some money on WrestleMania weekend. That's the main reason. But you know,
Well, you're a grifter, Ben. You're just a grifter.
I am a grifter. I'm, you know,
You're a great. You're great at what you do. You're a great grifter. I'm in with the
I'm
grift.
a smoker. Yeah, I'm a joker. I'm a smoker. I'm a midnight toker. I play my music in the sun. With you, vet, and you know that it's interesting. Like I said, I'm not here to be like F this guy, and you can tell that he's not in a sober state.
I think the important thing to take away is that regardless of the situation, he shouldn't have got drunk and popped off. But I'm just saying some of the things that he's saying are worth revisiting in a more respectful manner where you're not accusing people of grifting. I guess perhaps is the main point. We can talk about these things, but there's a way to go about it, a decorum, you know, a level of respect. But there's some interesting issues to have a civil discussion. It's hard to have a civil discussion with Glenn sometimes, but
I think Larry Dallas should kill a fifth of fucking Jack before every show. Probably their best ratings ever, right?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Do you think Larry Dallas should be a manager and they redo Grift Garrison, and that's all they do?
Grift Garrison. Yeah, it's just a bad sting with instead of Paul Newman and Robert Redford.
Yeah. Shawn Michaels, you might have heard of him.
We can't talk about this. Let's move on to something else. We're not on his level.
Is Baron Corbin being brought back to WWE NXT brand? So that's what's having the opportunity to do. Okay, all right. We'll move on to something else. Baron Corbin's second story. His sad gimmick in WWE was only supposed to last for 2 weeks. He appeared on Corey Graves' After the Bell podcast, and he commented on advice he received from John Cena. Then the other thing that really stuck with me is that John has preached, which I think has helped me in my career immensely, is how do you take what you've been given and make it the absolute best you can? That process he goes through when he's handed a promo. Okay, I see what you want. And okay, I want exactly like this. Okay, how do I make this the best so I can absolutely make it? And it's kind of one of those things. You see a challenge. We all get promos. We all get opportunities. We all get things we want or may not want to do. How do I make it stand out? How do I make it amazing? How do I take this and turn it to gold? I think Sad Corbin in his prime was an example of that. When Vince tasked me with that, I saw it as an opportunity to change, show character, and just add another level of body to my work. It was only supposed to be like 2-week thing, and it ended up running for months because I went all in.
Ribs on you, Baron.
Commit to the bit. I like that he said this because in other recent ones, he's been like, I'd like to see the reiteration of the lone wolf just trying to throw something against the wall when he knows none of that shit stuck the first time. Sad Corbin stuck for the first time because he committed in a way we've never seen anything else, whether it was, Game of Thrones Corbin, Constable Corbin, Lone Wolf, Skullet Corbin, Boxer Corbin, whatever the fuck it was. Taking everything away, and now what do you have if you were on Skid Row? That was where the commitment was, eating fucking bologna sandwiches stolen out of a dumpster. That shit was great. And even though they got more weeks out of it, there was so much fucking fruit left on that tree to be picked. And they flipped him to Happy Corbin to get over Madcap Moss and do fucking dad waka waka jokes that you're not playing a reality and you're going for the joke and the punchline. When you play the reality, the comedy is 10 times better. That comes out of the dark situations of having a character that we follow. Once we start doing, isn't that funny? It's not funny. It's fucking stupid, and it's insulting to our intelligence, and your popularity and our emotional investment with you dwindles very quickly. And I would love to see him not get back to the Sad Corbin thing because there really isn't a great track for that now. We'd just be beating a dead horse. But we need to find something that he can commit to a bit that way that's going to be emotional because he's shown that he can do it, even though they fucked it up and cut it short. Let's find something else.
I laugh because they literally handed this man dog food.
Yeah.
Like we talk about chicken salad and lemonade, you know, they handed this man cans of dog food. So you know, the Baron Corbin, to me, it's not so much that and surprise surprise, I didn't like any of the stuff he's ever done, but
You didn't like the sad Corbin down on his luck Skid Row
it was
stuff?
ridiculous. It
Well,
was
that-
absolutely
that-
ridiculous.
it feels
And
like
he had the
that
same level of performance that he had for everything else, which was bringing me to my point. I never thought Baron Corbin's problem was the commitment to the things that he was doing. It's just what usually happens at the WWE when they do something and they're like, we're not doing this anymore. Deal with this now. And then he's like, okay. And then we do this. And then it's like, we're not getting over. And then he's like, okay, well, what now? And they're like, oh, okay, let's do this. And then he actually does, they actually like what they're doing. So like with the sad Corbin thing, it was just a case of he popped somebody. Yeah. And he was trying to take his own advice that he was saying there. Like, okay, I know what he's really saying is this shit sucked, but I had to make the most of it. That's what he's saying, which means that he knew it sucked and he didn't want to do it, but he just did his best. And when they saw that he was doing the thing that they liked for him, then the rib is that they had to keep doing it because it was amusing them, even though he was probably being tortured at the time. Like I have to spend
they're so
my valuable
far
TV
behind.
time. Yeah.
You're doing fucking Game of Thrones 3 years after it ends. Like that's when we're gonna launch it. You know,
Exactly.
Like
we're lucky it's
not when
only
it's
3
hot.
years behind.
right.
So for that, it's one of those things. You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. If you half-ass the bit, they're going to make sure you don't see any TV time. If you commit to the bit and it's terrible, then you're stuck doing a terrible bit for years and years sometimes. So it's like, look at what Seth Rollins is stuck in now. I don't think he really wants to be doing exactly this, but somebody told him he has to do it. And yeah, and you got the beard and everything. So it's like, so we work ourselves into a rib here, and that's just one of those unfortunate things about the business that we have to deal with. But everything he's saying is correct. You have to, you still got to at least entertain yourself, and hopefully you can entertain others. But like, it's just unfair the amount of dog food that they hand these people.
Well, I mean,
and tell them just get this over. Like it's almost like they're expecting him to fail, and so they give him like they give him the death, the death gimmick or whatever. And then when like Big Vito or something, like you're gonna wear a dress, he's like, oh yes I am, and watch this, and all of a sudden it's like we don't like how much over you're getting with this, so we're get off of television. So you can't do anything right. You just
You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. That's a great point, Vet, because they love their alliteration or whatever. And who in any meeting you go, Constable Corbin's gonna get over? Like it's fucking our town where he's got the fucking hat and the nightstick. Good
That's
evening,
the only thing
Mrs.
missing.
Mrs. Yeah, dude. Good evening, folks. All's quiet around here at Raw. Like,
and do you know what? And do you know what his?
Terrible.
Do you know what he's doing? Well, in NXT, since they brought that up, so you know what he's doing. What he's doing is he's doing one of these overly cinematic like vignettes or whatever, where he's like driving like it's a Rocky IV montage where Rocky's thinking about stuff in the car while they play No Easy Way Out, and he's driving.
Is it supposed to be a rib on the? I haven't seen it. The Matthew McConaughey in the Lincoln commercials where he's driving around drunk with an inner monologue. Okay.
No, it's something else. I don't know what they're ripping off, but it's something. And then so he's driving, or it's just generic. So he's driving. He pulls up to this bonfire that's going on in the woods, and he gets out, and that's where they leave us. Then the next week, they kind of recap the last few seconds of the other vignette to bring us to now. And then he sees like a hooded figure that's standing at the bonfire at the end of the last episode. And then they come face to face. And do you know who the hooded figure has been?
I know. Is it me?
It's Baron Corbin. Oh my God. And somehow he's two different heights, even though he's the same person. But somehow he's shorter than himself, and now he's looking at himself like, oh my God, this is it's me all along, but not like a mirror, just another Baron Corbin. So I'm just riveted. I can't wait to see where they go tomorrow.
Yeah, we're cloning Corbin. Is that what we're doing?
Cloning Corbin, another alliteration.
That's it, right?
Clone Corbin.
That's
Oh.
well, What
Commit to the bit, Corbin. We're gonna.
Let me stick to this, right?
No,
It's as
let's
terrible
not.
as
This
it
is above
It's
our level. We can't talk about this.
As terrible as that may be, or whatever they're trying to do. What if there is a cloning guy who cloned Corbin? And now let's say part 3 is real Corbin's there face to face with clone Corbin. Clone Corbin stabs real Corbin, fucking murders him, throws him in the fire, burns his body. And now we have clone Corbin going forward and the real Baron Corbin's dead. And then every week, clone Corbin dies in some way when another clone Corbin shows up.
So it's the Prestige.
Yeah, you open up a fucking warehouse and there's just a ton. Not Prestige or Twin Brothers. Somebody has cloned 1,000 fucking Baron Corbins, and every week one of them gets killed in some tragic way. And like, oh my god, they killed Kenny or whatever. Another one fucking comes back. But we have to kill the first original Corbin via clone as well in the next vignette.
Well, it sounds like Impact now, and then you're gonna have a match. You have to match with yourself so we can do the Ethan Page thing again. Definitely. We just totally rip off Impact. And so the Prestige, that's not the one. Which one's the other magician one? Which one's the magician one where they keep killing the clones every night in the escape gimmick, the Houdini gimmick?
That was the Prestige. I don't think they were clones. They were twin brothers, right?
No, he had a way to like reproduce himself, and the clone would die every night in the water, and he would come out like, hey, I escaped, like I made the impossible escape, but the clone had to die. Am I wrong on that? Chat can correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that was the twist. I think it's time to watch the Prestige again. Anyway, we should both watch it.
Breakdown on Vet's Twitch, you guys. Twitch.tv/opinion haver on Prestige review. But I hope we're not stealing from them, and that is a completely original idea by us that we can charge them for.
100%.
Let's see here. I'm not gonna read that one. That's dumb. Former WCW Booker expresses interest in becoming a consultant for WWE or AEW.
There's only one WCW Booker I'm interested in.
During his Tuesdays with Taskmaster podcast, former WCW star and Booker Kevin Sullivan asked if he would consider being a consultant for WWE or AEW. He said, of course, because anybody that loves the business and sees what they're doing now, you have to stay relevant. It's like, I don't want to knock my compatriots, but not all the shows sold out. They weren't all hanging from the rafters, and everything evolves. Think about this. Again, I'm repeating myself, but that bloodline, people who have gone there and are there, not only did they make the bloodline, they've made everyone around them. Sami Zayn took 20 giant steps when he was involved with them. I really like watching him, how he's moving his hands, his expressions. That time he said he's not feeling very oozy. They were biting their lips, trying not to laugh. He got raised. Kevin Owens, who I think is a fabulous performer, he got raised. You got Cody in the wings waiting. You got Seth McIntyre, all these guys that have been raised. The tide comes in and raises all boats. That's what they've done. Well, when we were doing the NWO, we were slaughtering baby faces, and they were coming up to me saying, I think they're really from New York. So, yeah, I'd love to do some consulting. I just was lucky enough to work in Canada at Great Northern Wrestling up there, and Kevin Sullivan is the lead booker up there. So it was cool. He liked my match, very simple and comedy wise. GGP really stole the show, put on a fucking banger up there. But we had a great time, and just to be able to be coached and take notes from Kevin Sullivan, like I said, I turned around, drank a 6-pack of Molson and told me he doesn't know a fucking thing. That's what I did. No, I shut the fuck up and I said, thank you very much. And is there any finishes that are old school that nobody's doing that are like a really super heel thing? And he gave me one that I really want to do with Congo Kong before I start my own bonfire and throw my boots in him. But just to be able to be in a guy's presence with that level of knowledge and ask for just, please give me one lesson, that was very cool. And again, somebody working remotely, could have a good impact on a lot of talents, main roster to NXT, like Stevie's doing with the breakdowns as well. So knows his shit, and it was pretty positive and cool to me, man, backstage.
Well, this is another situation here where we're talking about WWE management, whoever those people are. And you've got a guy like Kevin Sullivan, who's an enormous wealth of knowledge and experience that you could tap into for stuff. And I just don't see anybody up there saying like, God, if only we had Kevin Sullivan here to help us. Because it's same thing we're talking about with Stevie Richards. Like, yes, they should be asking for his help. No, they're not going to. Why? Because they don't think they need any help. They never think they need any help. They don't look at themselves in a position of, like, God, we're up against the ropes. We could really use to bring in somebody and kind of show us everything we're doing wrong. And, furthermore, the more money they keep making with these deals, the less they would even be inclined to feel like that. Maybe in the 90s when they were dangerously close to going bankrupt, they might have thought about that. But
yeah,
as soon as Russo and Ferrara and Stone Cold and Rock take off and all that stuff going on, you think they're interested in outside help anymore? No. So they are just not interested in things that can help them, even though Kevin Sullivan could help anybody on any level, just whether it's something personal to you, Ben, like with a piece of advice or a finish, or whether it's a larger scale. People don't maybe realize during that like 90s period there, Kevin Sullivan was like the booker for WCW, like not just a booker, but like the booker. And he was like, if I'm, again, Chad can correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't he come up with the Dungeon of Doom because Hulk Hogan was coming into the company and they needed to give him a heel parade like they used to back in the 80s. So he's like, all right, here's all the guys he used to work with, and now they have funny gimmicks. And he's not an earthquake; he's a shark.
I think Rip was booking the house shows at that time. A lot of times, Sullivan would be doing TV, and Rip was booking house shows.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not like the guy doesn't know. And he was down in Florida with with Eddie Graham, which is probably where he learned the majority of his finishes, and things like that around that time. So anything that Kevin Sullivan has in his brain could be useful to anybody else in the WWE, even though they're doing like a completely different style of thing than Kevin was doing back then. But all this shit still works if you put it in the right place with the right people.
Yeah, everything old is new again. Mick Foley wouldn't sign a new WWE Legends contract unless a certain condition was met. Oh my. During a Mattel discussion panel at San Diego Comic-Con, the three faces of Mick Foley elite action figure set was revealed, and Foley stated the following. He says, I have actively wished for this and was hoping for it. I even drew a line in the sand when it came to my Legends deal. I told my manager, I'm not re-signing another Legends deal unless I have a guarantee that they're doing some type of three faces of Foley thing. I guess I don't need to worry about that now. This is really great. So for all you action figure collectors, you're going to get Cactus Jack, Dude Love, and Mankind.
They never did that before?
I don't think they did. I know they had a Cactus Jack limited edition figure because I had gotten one. This one before I was in the biz and was fucking trying to do the toy collection thing way early when it first came out. So whenever that was, that Legend series, and I sold that online for $120 after buying it for $14. Because that was, I think they only made like 10,000 of the Cactus Jack ones. So that was a nice little flip. And, but now I'm sure they're going to mass produce this one. So,
all right.
But yeah, he wasn't going to re-sign a Legends contract if it wasn't for all the toys. That's a strange.
Is he just is he just saying that tongue in cheek, like as a joke on the podcast, and people are taking that as I think that's another, while we're on that subject real briefly, I just want to say that that's another issue when we were going back talking about the LA Knight thing and all these other things. When people, the blurring of the lines where the business is totally exposed now, if anybody even wants to try to be in character or like just a little bit, the way MJF does on one of these things. Maybe they want to answer questions in a certain way to keep people guessing and stuff. Now, because the business is so exposed, people are going to take a lot of more things at face value when the people are really kind of working. So it can cause some issues there. If Mick Foley is just casually joking around saying, I wasn't going to sign my Legends deal, but they met my demands, then that's the kind of humor that Mick Foley has. But if someone sees that, they might take it like, oh, what a juicy bit of gossip there.
No, you're absolutely right. It might have been tongue in cheek that way, but I just wanted to get it out there to say, hey, if you're a fucking collector, then
pre-order now.
I got Mr. Sacco and I don't need the toys. Former AEW star Brian Pillman Jr. says a huge opportunity is coming up in his career. At a virtual science, it's a tough business. It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. But being here today and getting in the reminiscence on some of my past moments in my career has really cheered me up and put me in a position where I'm excited for the future. There's a lot to come. Can't speak on it right now. It's kind of in the works right now. I've got a huge moment, a huge opportunity coming up in my career to continue making memories, continue with my new gear ideas, and sharing my idea of pro wrestling with all of you. In a virtual signing, he put that over. He worked out down in Florida, and then dirt sheets were like, he's not getting signed, and then 4 days later, he's moving to Florida at the end of the fucking month. So that's them doing a public tryout and then not wanting the sheets to talk about it. So they flushed some bullshit information that he's not getting signed while they were actually signing him. And now I guess he's going at the end of the month or whatever. Good for him. Awesome. There's tons of value on him. And hopefully he kicked out from whatever, was holding him back in AEW. And he can stay on the straight and narrow and really start to make his career. I think there's plenty of money there. I just not sure if we could go down the same road of crazy Brian Pillman or which way we should do things with him out of the gate.
We should start with Clone Corbin and just go from there.
I like that at points. Shit, I skipped this one. Vince McMahon, has reportedly grown to be a fan. I'm growing to be a fan of LA Knight and is expecting a big push after SummerSlam. I probably should have read this earlier at the top of the show. But Twitter accounts, Better Wrestling Experience says, the department knows what LA Knight is capable of, but the strategy was always to go by the system and not just break it suddenly because a talent is abruptly over. That's why patience is key. And according to Keller on his Knight, why Knights hadn't been pushed sooner, he says Knight has a long-running reputation for rubbing people the wrong way behind the scenes and just being bad at backstage politics. Those who know him will tend to like him, and some of them have spoken up on his behalf when Knight gives a bad first impression.
So this is literally what you read at the top, right? Like that quote?
Sorry. But I don't know where it says Vince is a fan of him now. I'm sure Vince probably didn't know who he was and saw him walk by on some B12 and went, God damn, pal, who's that son of a bitch? Right. Nothing there. Sorry to repeat myself. I just saw Vince McMahon in the headlines. And let's see. Changes to SmackDown were made due to talent reportedly being pulled for medical reasons via Mike Johnson, via Paul Heyman, PW Insider. Says word making the rounds at SmackDown is that the reason there were some changes scheduled plans tonight is for medical reasons. One version making the rounds is that there were COVID positives or talents who were at least in the direction with someone who tested positive. During the SmackDown, Charlotte defeated Io Sky, was attacked by Asuka afterwards. It was believed that Io was originally supposed to have a match against Zelina Vega. I'm glad they did this segment they did, but Stevie and I will break all that down on the SmackDown review. Very strange segment. So it is interesting of why they might have done something different here.
There is no sick.
COVID's back, pal. Get me Thunderdome. Y'all.
What was
see.
Just going back to the LA Knight thing again, and but it's on SmackDown, right? It's like people think that it's like the way they're talking about it's like a either or. Like you either have to push LA Knight and throw all your plans in the garbage, or you just job him out and make him look terrible. That's what they've chosen to do. If you don't want to push the guy into the spots that you already have other people slotted into, Why don't you just have him go over somebody that you're not using just so he can show his face, say a catchphrase or two, get a quick win and wave to the fans and all this other stuff? Like, that's what you do when you're not ready to do the thing with the guy you want to do the thing with down the road. You give him a positive appearance, like, hey, look who it is. You don't just job him out to people or have him be in a contenders match and lose or other things. You just have them make the appearance, shake the hands, kiss the babies, and then fuck off. And then when it's time, then it's time. But instead, like I said, they're wiping their feet on him on purpose, just because of people like us who are saying, wow, LA Knight's cool, he's getting over. That's why they're doing it. It's not because you don't have to go to either extreme. There is a middle ground.
Yeah. I would like to see with COVID, you remember the boy in the plastic bubble? Fucking John Travolta. Like, they could get those plastic bubbles that you could walk around in, like a hamster one. And we just put people who have tested or even possibly tested for COVID inside those, and they still have to come to work and walk around in the arena in one of those. I think that'd be excellent. And get somebody going down the ramp and we'll fucking launch them.
Stevie Richards fitness review request. One of those bubble things that you walk around in. I want to review, and then I want a year down the road review. How does it hold up? You know, when you're rolling outside, like does the plastic actually wear down and pop? Yeah.
He is Stevie Christ, so he could be walking on water with that. Just roll right across.
How does it roll in sand? How does it roll on grass? How does it roll on asphalt? I want to know all these different things. I'm considering buying one.
He'll get one for free, just based off this alone. Seth Rollins, 2 stories left. First one, Seth Rollins says his real life beef with fellow star Matt Riddle has been settled. It's no secret that Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle have had their differences in the past. The 2 stars were embroiled in a heated program last summer that brought some real life aspects to TV. After comments made by Riddle's ex-wife about Becky Lynch a number of years ago, there was animosity behind the scenes, and Rollins was never too fond of the former UFC prodigy. But following a months-long feud last year, Rollins revealed that both sides are now on better terms, and the current WWE World Heavyweight Champion isn't one to hold grudges. He says things that happened outside of here, that is what it is. He apologized and we mended fences, he told Impulsive. I don't write anybody off. I'm not like one of those guys like, no second chances, you do wrong by me, I hate you forever. I'm not that stubborn. It's not that serious unless you do some really nasty stuff. Everyone makes mistakes, and I'm all about forgiveness, second chances, what have you. I will give you the benefit of the doubt. He was a big man about it and came forward and apologized, and we were able to work together, and I'm happy for that. So, yeah, man, I hope Riddle can kind of get out from under the thumb of you're gonna eat shit, pal, right? Like his whatever it was with cancel culture and Me Too speaking out movement, he took the whip in there. That's kind of I think what might have kicked that off. And then got over with Randy and all that shit, and then the rehab stuff, and you know, kind of getting with the adult film stars and all that, and now his girlfriend, who was an adult film star, is going to be having a kid with. I'm not here to judge anybody's stuff, but I think he's got 3 kids with his ex too. Like, that's a lot for a guy on the road, bro. And I'm sure he wants to be as good of a dad as he can. And, at the same time, you're coming off of rehab stuff and you're putting yourself in an industry or around an industry that is very dangerous and controversial and may not be the best if you're trying to stay sober, I guess. But, the visual of that to the office is what could fuck you over more. You know what I mean? And then who knows, you're in some Jeff Hardy situation or whatever it is, dude. So we're kind of still juggling chainsaws here, hoping not to get cut.
So let me get this straight. What is Riddle was a big man about what? His wife talking shit? I missed what the deal was. I forgot about the thing with him and Seth was.
Yeah, I remember the segment where they sat down via remote, right? They weren't in the same spot or in the arena or whatever. He went looking for him. And but that was like some real digs of his wife going at him from the speaking out movement. I can't remember what Riddle's wife said about Becky Lynch or anything like that. I'm not sure.
Well, I thought
But
I thought that I thought that TV spot was a work though. I mean, they went to business for themselves on live TV. They would be in huge trouble.
Yeah, but they might have agreed that, like, let's get fucking personal with it, because you could see Riddle's reaction was more genuine and Seth was getting the over guy fuck you in on him. Now it could have been scripted that way, but I don't see from their performances in other times it's lived up to that level of realism, you know. So we'll see.
Well, a tip for all you guys: just if you're gonna have to talk shit about somebody personally on TV, hopefully your relationship is good enough you can clear it with them ahead of time, just so you can avoid any sort of entanglements.
Yeah, man. I just think that I mean, I don't know. Riddle's reached out before to us based off of clips Kaz has put out there and thanked, because a lot of people weren't behind him and tearing him down, you know. And, you know, the guy's got tons of money written on him, but if he's got a lot of domestic stuff going on, you know, and now all eyes are on you after you're getting out of rehab, and then you're still kind of going down the road you were on beforehand, that's tough. And right now they have him losing clean. And I feel like that's definitely you got to eat shit for a while, pal. Like that kind of fucking comeback. So, and we haven't
that's true, but losing clean to Walter is not the same as what they're doing to LA Knight or anything, you know?
Sure. Yeah, they're going to give you a good match regardless. Those guys are fucking phenomenal workers. But we'll see. I hope he doesn't have more drama based off of the people he may be surrounding himself with.
This guy is going to have drama one way or another. If he stays clean, he's going to have drama with all these women and kids. If he, you know, it's always if he gets all his women and kids in order and the drugs are off the table, then it's going to be the wrestling politics. Like this, the guy will just he's a lightning rod for this stuff. So for better or worse, seems like a cool guy, but you know, some people just are those kind of people.
Where the hell's Boogs? God damn it. That's what we're looking for. Shredomatic 6000. And this was some stooge report from, I want to stooge him off, but on the Light the Fuse, you guys check that out. Some strange things going on with what I'm calling the new Cobra Kai of.
I thought that was Lacey Evans' hat.
Of AEW. Yeah, I scrapped that story too. But yeah, the new Cobra Kai of, hey, I had problems with the Elite and then I got my own show and I'll surround myself with other over guys to try and act like a locker room leader, but I'm really a fucking bully, and we'll see how that goes. Like, they're gonna expose themselves over and over and over again. They can't turn it off inside that Florida bubble. So we'll see how things go there. We'll keep an eye on that from the inside and not stooge off our pipeline, but at the same time, there's things going on in that Collision locker room already. But here's one that's not going to go down in the locker room. After last week, they said it was going down in the locker room. Vet Booker T, you might have heard of him, sucker, says his fight with Ryback is off, and he's disappointed in him. After formally accepting Ryback's invitation for a fight, WWE Hall of Famer Booker T has now called it off. Initially, Ryback requested that he and Booker square off in a Bellator-style fight, but even upon accepting the offer, Booker noted that he was skeptical of the idea of anyone credible sanctioning their fight. Instead, Booker insisted that the two meet in an on-site forum, meaning if they happen to cross paths in public somewhere, they have the green light to initiate combat. During the latest episode of the Hall of Fame podcast, though, it was revealed why Ryback versus Booker T is now canceled. He says, I was listening to Ryback talk, and he said he wanted to get paid for the fight. So you want somebody to set it up, and he'll fight me, and it'll be Ryback versus WWE, and I represent WWE. I don't know why WWE came into this. This is supposed to be between Ryback and I. It's supposed to be hand-to-hand. It's supposed to be like back in the day. I'm talking about two gunslingers back in the day, 10 paces and bang. I thought that was going to be something like that, but now he's talking about getting paid and this, that, and whatnot. So while Ryback was adamant about getting paid for a potential match against Booker, Booker reiterated that he was only interested in what he described as a 1-minute knockdown between himself and Ryback, one that would ultimately result in them being pulled apart. So they want to fight in Charlotte Airport in front of the Chick-fil-A instead of fucking possibly making $100,000 each. Like, to me, this is Booker having to save some face after WWE. Somebody goes, why the fuck are you selling for Ryback right now? And we needed it out to call it off after he said yes last week that the heat came down. What do you think of that?
Why would you have needed the WWE intervene on your behalf? Why does John? What is Bellator style?
What the fuck is Bellator style?
Yeah, it's different. It's different. It's a different shaped cage. They got different. Maybe higher.
It
age
doesn't
group.
matter. It could have been a double knockout, and Sal D'Amato will still send it to the cards. That's what it'll be.
Right. I don't know. Yeah, we don't have unified rules in MMA, but I think, like, why would you need anybody to tell you? If I didn't know about this whole thing, I remember hearing about them talking. I watched Stevie Ray when he had Ryback on with him, and I listened to them talk about stuff. And then all of a sudden, now I didn't hear anything else, and now I hear this shit about. First of all, why is Ryback just? Does Ryback know that he would get his shit pushed in a fight with Booker T? Does he know that? And he's just saying, like, well, let's just, like you're saying, let's do it for charity. Let's get it.
Interesting.
I'm asking
Booker
you,
T at age. I think Ryback would fucking tune up Booker right now, just based on age and size alone, bro. Front face lock and the power of Ryback. I'm not saying Booker don't know how to fight. He fucking whoops some ass. It very well could go the other way with a one, hook to the jaw and down. But the fact that they're like, we got all this heat, we're gonna fucking throw down in an airport bathroom and nobody's gonna see it or tape it is ridiculous. Like you wanted it that way, and then to be like, they don't even want this fight. They go, yeah, we're workers. Of course I would want to make money off of a shoot fight with heat off of two wrestlers. So for Booker to kind of be like, nah, now it's off, is the office putting pressure on him, and also Booker doing what we talked about at the top of this shit with whether me calling out Body and Shepard or fucking Larry Dallas, he's selling, right, to some degree for somebody he shouldn't be selling for. But he's laying down a line in the sand going, fights on, but then the week later, fights off, where I'm like, fights fucking on. Did they accept yet?
Yeah, I think that's it. I think it's what you said. I think he may have had some intention of entertaining this foolishness, and then the office was like, no, you're not. You're under contract with us and you're not doing that. But yeah, just no. If this was like, if this was Ryback doing like a charity situation where he's like trying to raise money for something, and this is some way that he thought of that would be a good way to do it, then okay, then I can see that making some sort of sense. But he also wants to be, Goldberg's retirement match, or he's putting him out there to make a comeback. He's saying he's ready and he's healthy, and he wants everybody to think that, despite some of the tweets that he's made in the past, that he's not a fucking insane lunatic. And then when you go ahead and do kind of shit like this, it's not helping your case. Like, you're a little schizophrenic with what you're saying. You're a little all over the place, maybe just calm down a little bit. But maybe that's the desperation of sort of being blackballed from the industry for whatever reason. And Booker T's engaging with somebody that's blackballed. He shouldn't be doing that just by the code of the industry blackballing somebody, just for that reason alone, like you shouldn't be doing it. So I don't know what to think, but I guess it's just never too late to be surprised about stuff in this crazy business.
Absolutely not. Actually, I have a follow-up on that story of exactly what they want.
No bread, no water, just meat. That's all he wants. That's all he needs.
And that's why you feed him more. That's why it goes down. But y'all, man, interesting. Of you want to pay off that heat? Let's pay it off. Just kidding. Don't want to pay it off. All right. So the office rules out all the time, man. And the boys get emotional and they want to fucking throw down for real, let them throw down. I just think that it's not wise to do it in a fucking steak and shake fucking.
Well, Booker's from now. Follow me on this one. Booker's from Texas, I think Houston. Larry Dallas. Do you think they were hanging out having a few drinks and maybe?
What do you think about that?
And he sobered up. He sobered up and was like, "Yeah, no, I don't know what I was thinking."
Ryback versus Booker, Larry Dallas versus Di, and me versus fucking Body and Shepherd on a card.
Well, whatever you charge, it won't be enough.
And we gave it away for free here today at YouTube channel. Thanks to our super sticker senders, right? Because we're remonetized on YouTube. So that's it's been an interesting week. We'll see for how long. I just put up 3 new $5 face slaps, number 69.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was a lady, right?
Yeah.
Lady, yeah.
70 and 71 are up there as well. Who will be virgin number 72 to get slapped? We'll find out here soon enough on August 12th, where I'll be in Utica, New York. We're going to have a big pay-per-view for Immortal Championship Wrestling, our first from the new Nexus Center. Beautiful new facility with Teddy Long's in the house, playa, and Enzo Amore, SAWFT, Cheeseburger, Jorah Joel, and more stars to be announced, man. So going to be a really big show for Immortal. I know there's some HMG members, Russo brand subscribers making the long trip from Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, and some from Canada coming across to come check that show out. But it will be on pay-per-view, and Blaze Ram and I'll be defending our tag team championships. Thank you, Frank, for the $5 sticker on the way out as well, man. Frank, I know he's got his front row tickets. He'll be there with his family looking to see me be victorious and get my revenge on all the conspirers against me. And maybe I'll do my kiss on Kayla on pay-per-view. Won't that be something special? Because she only lasted 67 seconds with Britt Baker. I can last longer than 67 seconds, man.
Well, she just wanted to check her mouth and make sure that it was in kissing shape with that with the lockjaw there. So that was a little just hands-on inspection.
Yeah, I might tweet that and thank her, but I was thank you for that great content.
You can have
right
it.
there.
You can have it.
But y'all, we'll be here all week, guys. I'll be putting up shows. I know there's some issues for some people to log in with channelattitude.com with email to Jeff so we can check your passwords, and you might need to refresh an RSS feed. We switch servers and be able to expand the brand, add more shows we couldn't before. So that's what is going down there. I just re-upped the Podbean account on HMG. So I'll put up some new, what's not Garden of Eden. I always want to call it that. Dr. Jeff Littman show. Garden of Doom. And the Wednesday locker room's up there. Love having those guys back together again, man, for free shows that way. If money's tight, we try and roll out a little bit for you guys. And as always, some extra free bonuses here before I make them private. We're 33 strong. We are up to 49. So I imagine people had coffee break or whatever it is to go to. But I thank you for kicking off your Monday with us. Vet, what do you got going down this week? I know Impact Attack, Next Level Review. What else, pal?
Oh, yeah. Impact Attack is tonight as we record this. So that's going to be 6:30 p.m. Pacific time if you want to join us on YouTube, Twitch, and that is 9:30 p.m. Eastern time if you don't want to do math. And that is a phone call or something.
That's my cannabis partner. I got to call him.
All right. Business. So we're going to wrap this up here. But yes, you can find me there every Wednesday, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern with Big Ray Hernandez for the Next Level Wrestling Review. Ben, you got to tell, since the Wednesday locker room boys are back and I've seen Strangler Steve in the Friday locker room, maybe you'll have to convince him to stop in because for whatever reason, Ray's convinced that he doesn't want anything to do with us. And I just don't believe Big Ray. I think Strangler Steve loves me and would love to be on our show, and he would tolerate Big Ray for that. So pass the word along, and let's get Steve on there. But we're also working on Charles Sam Rabbits and many other people to join us. So check it out, and you'll never know who might show up. on the Next Level Wrestling Review. As
Very
for
cool
me,
episode of the A Show with Big Ray and April and a UFO expert on there as well. I gotta sit through and listen to all that. I only saw a couple clips, but very cool content over there with the A Show with April Hunter.
yeah, you wanna see some interesting and unique guests, you got to check out the A Show. They've always got some interesting person on or whatever. And so let's see, what else do we have here? Of course, Wrestling with Rip Rogers every Friday. You can check that out. This past week, we had a little visit from Matt Stryker, your teacher. So,
Nice.
Ben, you know a little something about Matt Stryker, right?
Yeah, and
Your guy?
yeah, absolutely. I remember actually one of the first spec things I wrote was for him and Mason Rage, because Rage was a teacher too, and I wanted him to be like vice principal Rage, where Matt Stryker's the principal, and then he just unleashes rage on somebody, and they fucking powerbomb the shit out of him, and whatever it is. I thought that would have been a good tag together to build off the teacher shit. But great to have him on there, man. That guy's done it all, in ring and producer, and you know, and worked the mark job as a teacher. So good commentator for sure.
Check him out. He was doing commentary for Impact when I first jumped on the Impact Attack. So big fan of Matt Stryker, and that was a good show. So check out Rip Von Lilas and Matt Stryker on Wrestling with Rip Rogers on YouTube. Easy to find, free for everyone. So check that one out. And of course, we already talked about Stevie Richards a little bit at the top, but we could do a little bit more. You know, in addition to all the Patreon wrestling breakdowns and stuff like that, he's got a YouTube channel for that. He's got his fitness YouTube channel. He's got product reviews. He's got health updates. He's got so many.
He's got sex appeal. You can't teach that, pal.
Right.
He's got sex appeal.
Yeah, we're talking about that Florida, thing. Is he training for a comeback? Let's start that rumor. Like maybe they are bringing him to NXT to do hands-on breakdowns. So you'll never know. But yeah, everything that Stevie's up to, you're gonna check that out. Instagram, Stevie Richards, posting throwback stuff. He's got one of the things I like, Ben, on the on his wrestling breakdown, when he did one that he said he's gonna start making it a series called how does it feel? And this first one was, how does it feel to get to take the thumbtacks, right? So so he talked about a lot about the spot and the thumbtacks and everything else like that. So that'll be interesting to see what else he how's it feel, because Steve Richards does some shit.
Yeah, how's it feel to get a fucking railing dropped on your throat? Not good.
He's
putting out all that great content, man. Great plugs, absolutely. And check him out on his own Twitch, twitch.tv/Opinion Haver, doing the game.
Opinion Haver on all social medias.
All of it,
X, Instagram, whatever it is.
And the Vet says, the Hammer says he'll join you, Vet, for Next Level Review. So definitely look forward to having another great veteran voice with Charles the Hammer Evans. We had Johnny Publix in the house, Stevie Richards, my man Charles the Hammer Evans, as well as all the hardcore HMZ soldiers.
John Hartnett.
Yeah, Johnny Publix, baby. But y'all, we'll be here all week. Keep cranking out the shows. Check us out for the live watch-alongs, Master Shoot Theater, Raw and SmackDown review on the Russo brand side, and more wrestling than anybody really needs to fucking listen to. It's Hacker Hameen and the Vet, your Monday locker room infidels. YOLO.